sadly, I think it's spot on in a lot of ways. I've seen so many guys that's been their life.
I've seen, that showed the kind of the ugly underbelly of wrestling,
Yeah.
but there's also guys that have been successful in this business, you
Yeah.
know. This group here, I mean, you know, I've been with my wife 25 years. I've never had to go to rehab for booze or drugs.
Correct.
I never had a felony arrest. I'm active in the community. I have 2 daughters in college. I mean, guys like us, Tito Santana,
Yeah.
Roddy Piper, there's also success stories too. It's not all Scott Hall.
Yeah, a lot more success stories than that, but
But those
spot on, definitely, as far as those that have been through
We
that
don't
kind.
hear about those stories.
No, everybody
No.
likes the car wrecks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the people who are forced to jump on the car wrecks.
Yeah.
yes, true.
You guys have wrestled hundreds of different wrestlers. Who would be the one that you didn't get to wrestle that you always wanted to wrestle?
Me would be Hulk Hogan. I've tagged with Hulkster, but I never wrestled against Hulkster. I think Hogan is the premier guy in our business. I mean, The Rock and Cena and those guys. Here, I think Hogan's Hogan, and I've never had an opportunity to tag with him, but never wrestled him.
I think some of the guys from the newer era, like The Rock,
Yeah, Rock.
the charisma to get in the ring with that,
Yeah.
absolutely awesome. Dolph Ziggler from today, I think he's probably one of the best talents in WWE, and I'm very happy because he got in the business because of Shawn Michaels and myself, so very, very honored, you know, that he said that. But Dolph is great talent. I think, again, he's one of the best talents they have right now.
I couldn't tell you unless it was somebody way back in the day. Malenko, the guy that broke me in the business.
Oh, yeah.
One of the best in the business, and
Yes, he
he
is.
trained me, but I never really. No, his dad. Both of his, yeah.
Yeah, great.
I could see he would bring a house, Texas Stadium. I see him videos of him bringing a house on and setting him back down by using just 2 fingers. Had the crowd. I mean, that intense. Wrestling the old man. You know, Von Erich's dad, the original Von Erich.
Yes.
A unique deal I had where I wrestled DiBiase and Dusty and Bobby Orton, and I got to wrestle all their kids too when I went back to the WWE. So I get the young guys. I had Ted Jr. He's in the ring. He's all excited. You know, I'm like, try to relax, Ted. He's like, I said, give this to the old man. He's like, what? I said, give this to the old man. He said, what? I said, give that to the old man.
Sparta, what was your favorite match that you refed?
There was no favorite. Maybe favorite guys more than matches. There's some wrestlers I didn't like working with because they were asses. Chief J. Strongbow, believe it or not, is a dear friend of him,
Yeah.
as I was with him. He was very difficult to work with.
Big man.
But overall, no, there was no particular. I just,
Brutal.
who?
That was
The chief.
Yeah.
Chief.
Yeah, that was his line too. Everything was brutal.
Yeah, brutal.
But no, most of the guys in my day were fun to work with. There were some jerks, but overall, you just get in there and do what you're told, and that was it with them. Killer Kowalski, I love working with because Kowalski never had a plan. You never knew what he was going to do. He'd never talk his match over before the match. Just go out there and do it. So I like that because you didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But overall, no. Everybody was, even later on, back in the 90s when I worked with some of the guys, they were all okay. We did our job, got paid, and that's it. Yeah.
There was one time that you had talked to me about a time that you did not do what you were told in a certain tag team match.
Oh, that was Greg Valentine, and it was Greg and Beefcake against Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. And Beefcake and Greg were champions. We were in Hartford Civic Center. And Greg was on something that night, and I said, I think he was drinking, and I says, Greg, every time he went for a false finish, he'd go, 1, 2, and Greg wouldn't lift up. And I said, after the 6th time, I said, Greg, you're making me look like a jerk. Stop it. He kept it up, so I went about the 8th time, I went 1, 2, 3, and switched the belts on.
You got some heat for that.
I never got,
Excellent.
Right.
never got in trouble. Chief praised me for it. He says, boom, that was what to do. But some guys were like that. But see, in my day, the boys respected the referee.
Yes.
we had authority. Today, there's none. When I started, I don't know how old long back, you checked everybody, actually checked to see if they had any foreign objects. Then boom, we went through the motion. Now it's like, there's no authority, so. And the boys, I don't think today respect the refs as in those days. In my day, they respected.
That's one of the first
You had
things they taught you in the business, respect the ref.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, because
That's
that way,
the authority.
If you're a heel and you cheat and you don't respect the referee, it doesn't mean nothing.
Right.
If you're respecting the referee, then when you do something underhanded, it makes sense.
Correct.
It's all about psychology.
Yes.
You got time for one more question?
Gotta bring it home, boys.
No, time to get the big one
Yes,
in.
gentlemen.
I've been watching wrestling since the late 60s. Right over when I first started watching. But I realized with all of the traveling, how many of you took your families with you all the time when you traveled? Or left your family at home and left them?
Most of the time, family definitely does stay at home. Because when we started, it's not like it is today. Today, because I've been in both eras on contract. Today, you'll fly in and it's 4 days and you're not flying every day. You'll drive a loop. In our day, we're actually flying every single day. So it was just so hard to bring your family. But we would pick the times to bring a family. Maybe when you'd be on a tour for 6 or 7 days and you were going to drive. That's the time to bring a family because you're not flying every single day. It's not so demanding, to get in, check out, get rent a car.
I think in the territory days, like Mid-South, you would
Yeah.
drive, you could drive the 5-state loop, and so you're more likely to bring people, but usually not the kids, right? They're not happy on a 5-hour drive there and then 5-hour drive back.
Yeah, and not to mention, what I'm saying, it's okay when you were doing a TV or a pay-per-view, but
Yes.
it definitely ain't the place to be on the road with no family.
Yes.
Back
I
in the
agree.
day, I mean, it was just too out of control sometimes.
Yes.
And some things should be left, business here and home here. Yeah, it can be scary.
Yes.
Yeah, brother.
With TNA going under, what do you see as far as I don't know if you have a love-hate. I'm sure you have a love and hate relationship with Vince and management throughout the years. But where do you see the industry going with them being now pretty much the sole operation, other than Ring of Honor, which isn't shown in
Right.
many places?
Well, I think there's always room for a number 2. I mean, you're not going to compete with Vince, but at least offer the fans an alternative. And TNA just wasn't fitting the bill.
Correct.
Vince Russo might have something to do with that, but I'm biased there. But I think since TNA's gone, I think somebody will step up. There's some good little small organizations around the country. Up in Boston, is that Big Time Wrestling. Maybe somebody will get a TV contract, and it'd be better for the more places to work, the better for the wrestlers.
But there's still, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
But TNA's they're still working shows up in New York, okay? And they've gone the ECW route with their production, okay? Which I'm really surprised with the commission in New York, and can you guys verify how hard they are?
Oh, they're very hard.
Okay, as far as the blood, they're doing thumbtack matches, they're doing
Yes.
barbed wire, and coming off, I mean, that's where we did Raw from initially. That's where the first
Manhattan
Raw was,
Center?
in the Manhattan
Manhattan Center,
That's
yeah.
where they're doing their TV. And then you have Global, which is the new entity that's supposed to be coming down. They're going to Universal Studios. Okay?
Wrestling?
Yep, AAA and New Japan are working with
them. Yeah.
with them.
Yes.
And that's the new deal that's coming down. It's on the internet and that stuff. It's
Jeff
not like
Jarrett.
it's in the dark. And it's a country singer because they're going to be on.
Yes.
Toby Keith.
Toby Keith. Yeah.
He's the money man that's going to be behind it.
Yeah.
But it's a good opportunity to watch. AAA is the #1 Mexican company.
Yes.
And if you Lucha Libre, if you've never been exposed much to it, is very, very good. And New Japan, they're a legend over there. I mean, I'm not familiar with their new talent, but Japan's always produced great wrestlers. And they have a lot of respect and that as far as the business goes. But I mean, the other companies that you were talking about out there, there's stuff out there. I feel sorry. I go to some of the independents once in a while. I'll go to independents and watch, and because I like to see the guys work and see who's working. And for me, it's just something to do on a Friday or Saturday night. And but the thing is, guys got to have that developmental. I mean, the independents are the way, but you got egos there too. But it's even the promoters where they do different stupid stuff. but it's a place a smart person can promote, and you know, on a smaller level, and it's a great place for guys that want to do this business to get better and better. It's like Jim had mentioned much earlier that there's guys out there that have been working 10 and 15 years that are in developmental here that are phenomenal wrestlers.
Yes, correct.
I mean, are better than some of the guys that are on TV right now.
Like a guy in
That they're
NXT.
going through the NXT and learning the the business properly.
Yeah, now they teach, they want it more believable, but I it's not UFC or UCF, whatever, it's pro wrestling.
UFC, correct.
Right, you
Yeah.
know, so I like to punch a guy 10 times in the corner. Everybody in the building be going 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
You do that now at WWE, you're kidding.
How many times can you guys, you know what I'm saying, when you hear us talk back in the day, you can relate more because it's out of the seat of my pants, like if it was a bar brawl. You know, if I'm going to kick your butt, I'm going to tell you what the deal is. I'm not looking about etiquette, and I'm not looking about a movie line from a far-off movie. You know what I'm saying? It's believable. It's emotion. The way I always talk to somebody is like it's a shoot. I've had guys come to me and go, "Your eyes look weird, man." I thought that was going to actually knock the crap out. You know what I'm saying? But it's the business. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That guys can talk. If you can't talk, that's what managers were for initially.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, to help them through. They had a great look, a great, whatever in that, and you put them with a phenomenal manager.
Hopefully, we definitely get someone to rise up. I mean, Vince has never looked at any other company because we've always been the leader, except for when WCW took the ratings. But that was the best time, too, when we had 3 different companies fighting for the market share. When we had WCW, we had ECW, and WWE. We had the highest market share, for all the companies. TV ratings were the highest. Corporate earnings were the highest. So we need to get some competition. Believe me, I'm sure Vince sits back and just probably laughs all the time that no one is even trying. This huge industry. So we really need to have a second or third company.
What's really a shame is that there isn't more companies. Why? Because the same reason you got McDonald's, Burger King,
Yes.
Arby's, and all these other things out there. It's good to be number one, but it's better when there's a wide field and everybody has something to look at and
Of
compare you
course.
to.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? It's bad to worry because if you get complacent, you know what I'm saying? Your what do you call it? Creativity goes down.
And it has.
That's when they had the NWO.
Of course.
If you have to fight,
You had to compete. Everyone was fighting for the ratings then.
if you have to fight and work to have a better product, it's better for you guys as the fans.
Of course.
Right? I'm
better
gonna
for
talk to you,
everybody.
not to copy people, but to come up with a better mousetrap.
Yeah.
Well, people were young. People who never even watched wrestling once they heard the NWO, everybody jumped on that bandwagon.
Well, if you remember during that time too, you could go, the late 90s, you could drive through any gas station, and gas stations had wrestling t-shirts.
That's true, too.
Everybody was wearing wrestling t-shirts then.
course.
Because it was crazy. It was just, and it became mainstream with Rock and Stone Cold and all the fighting for the ratings there. You don't have that now. It's just Vince, and believe me, he's complacent. And we need to have a second, third company for everyone, for the betterment of the whole business, fans and the wrestlers and the corporations.
I'd
Real
just like
quick,
to
off
say I
topic.
beat Stunning Steve Austin so bad he had to shave his head and change his name.
Hey, but you know
Why
what?
should you get a kickback all the
Hey,
money?
there's
he's
a
making?
guy that was a mid-card guy,
Yes.
phenomenal athlete, great talent for years. Am I right?
Yes. Steve.
Oh, yes, okay.
Great athlete, phenomenal talent, and not used to his potential. Then they brought him in, gave him a beer can and a 4-wheel drive.
That was it.
Woo!
That was it.
We can relate to it.
Yeah.
We can relate to it. That's something, you know what I'm saying? Kicking butt, open that can of whoop ass, you know what I'm saying? And taking it to something that somebody can relate to. Whether you're in the penthouse or the outhouse, you all relate. Yeah, I want to see somebody's getting butt kicked. That's why there's so many heel fans too.
Yes.
The Taker took that to the next level.
Yes, he
The
did.
Dead Man, incredible.
You guys cool if I put this on YouTube later?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just
Sure.
I'm gonna make sure I get your permission.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
Actually, guys, we have a couple more minutes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, brother.
Awesome.
With, you were talking about the Divas earlier, with pretty much the non-existent skill of, the women's side of wrestling as far as like WWE these days, with people like Ric Flair's daughter and stuff coming back in, and the girls that are on on NXT, do you see a return to a more exciting era when instead of, you know, the lull match before the main event that everybody got a soda at, you know, it's actually something that's more enjoyable to watch, kind of like the Attitude Era before then?
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the Attitude Era myself, you know.
Right.
I thought it should be a family-oriented show and had Edge up there pumping on.
Yeah.
Prime time TV.
What was the porn guy, Jim? What was his name?
Ron Jeremy?
Ron Jeremy.
No, the other guy, Val Venus. There you go.
Yeah,
yeah.
Getting some.
Why do you give
Kevy in
yourself
the back
away
of
there,
the
honey?
promo. Yeah, let me do my promo. Okay, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I got a question. If you guys would like have one more match with any guys from the current, you know, either TNA or WWE, who would it be?
I actually still wrestle quite a bit on the indie circuit, so I get to wrestle a lot of the young guys.
Yeah.
But in the WWE, I think Cena. You know, I'd like to be in the ring with Big John. And of course, that's one thing about the business. It's bigger than any one star.
Yes.
So many people say, "Oh, what are you going to do after Hogan?" Boom, and then you got The Rock. What are you going to do after The Rock? Boom, you got Stone Cold. And then you got Cena. You know, and before that, you had Bruno. I mean,
Yeah.
WWE is bigger than any one talent. But
Of course.
personally, I would just like to be in the ring with John and the Sing. I've been in a tag match, or excuse me, a battle royal with him, and I potatoed the devil out of him. Just as I went to hit him, one of the big crime time guys punched me and drove me into Cena. I just really just smashed, and I saw him. He just went, "I'm gone." But he was all right though.
Probably Dolph Ziggler, myself. Great talent. Love to get in there. Tear it up with him.
I like Dolph
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, Dolph's great.
I couldn't tell you now, but I know I'd like to tag with the new disasters, Mark Henry and White. Yeah, we could be a hell of a six-man tag.
Yeah, right. That would be.
It
Yeah.
calls
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Tremors. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Anybody? Go ahead.
Yes. So what do you think about the Brock Lesnar? Brock Lesnar.
Brock
T-
Lesnar.
Tough guy. He
obviously.
truly likes to fight.
I know he the one that beat the Undertaker.
Okay. What do you guys feel about that? What are the fans? I mean, everyone was shocked. So are you guys shocked that Brock beat Taker?
I think from a story perspective, and you know, it's been such bland writing for the past, you know, 5 or so years at least, that it was like a slap in the face. And everybody that I know who's a really, really big fan freaked out. And I think that was the point, and I think it was good of them to do that.
Yeah.
I think Undertaker had a lot to do with that too, because if he didn't want to do the job,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
didn't do it.
Yeah, he's office. So Taker was part of that, believe me.
Yeah, but I mean, it was who worse to lose to than the guy that couldn't hack it in the UFC. So Vince was like, "Yeah, come on, man." You know.
Right. That's the way a lot of folks look at it.
A lot of guys would like to see Roman Reigns actually had done that, defeat Taker for the first, because they built a future.
I thought
mean,
he was just going to retire undefeated. Tell you
Yeah,
the
me
truth.
too. It shocked a lot of us also. That
If you guys
even.
were booking it, who would you have go over him?
Probably that hacksaw Duggan.
Good answer. Good answer.
Not a chance.
Oh, I don't want none of that guy. Oh.
Yes, ma'am.